Good. We're ready. So my friends, today I'm going to do something in my speech that's a little different, and it might make you uncomfortable. But I want you to know that that is the point, okay? Because I'm going to be talking about being unreasonable, getting yourself uncomfortable, and how that will unleash you, okay? This is a very speech. So myself, I'm a pretty unreasonable fella. You might have noticed I like to stick out and stand out. Most people don't like that. You want to play safety. But growth comes when you're uncomfortable. Who's heard of their comfort zone? Do you know where your comfort zone is, right? It's where you feel safe. But growth doesn't happen in safety. Growth happens when you're feeling a little awkward, when you're stretching beyond your normal bounds. When I break out, when I'm uncomfortable, it's when I feel alive. I feel a little tingle in my chest. My fingers get a little wiggly. Who gets that? Who gets that little tingle when you're stretched out a little farther than you're supposed to be? Supposed to be, he said. Who went to the contest, area contest? Right, really? Was it just the same old speech? No. Was it just like this? It was a little different, right? Because you were stretching. You were saying, I'm comfortable now in my group. Now, here's a bunch of people I don't know. I'm a little more uncomfortable. And I bet that you learned something from doing those speeches. Huh? So, here are the secrets to success and joy. Be unreasonable. You didn't do my quote. You did? Oh. Well, my introduction, as you recall, said a quote by George Bernard Shaw. And George Bernard Shaw said that the reasonable man accepts the world the way that it is, and the unreasonable man creates progress. Now, unreasonable does not mean, what doesn't it mean? It doesn't mean settle. No, I'm completely wrong. It doesn't mean be stupid. It doesn't mean be brash. What it means is don't settle, okay? I'm not saying be unreasonable, go fight with people. I'm saying be unreasonable in, most people would look at you and say, wow, that's not what we should do. So think about Christopher Columbus going across the ocean. The great mass of people around the world said, don't do that, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. You're going to die. He was unreasonable, borrowed a couple of bucks, and found us. We weren't here then, right? So the settlers who then lived on the east coast of this country, 13 colonies or so, they lived there and they were doing okay. And some people said, well, let's hitch up some wagons and go west. What do the rest of them say? Well, that's unreasonable. That's stupid. Why would you do that? We've got a good thing going on here. Yeah? And so that's what I mean by unreasonable. So sometimes somebody might say, go be in the humorous contest. And you'd be like, no, that's not what normal people do. That's not safe. That's not, yeah, see? Be unreasonable. Don't just do what people say you can and can't do. Take it on for yourself. I'm going to go do that even though they said no. Thomas Edison with his 1,000 attempts at making a light bulb work. And they said, you know, that's not going to work. How about an airplane? Actually, I flew in an airplane last week. I still think it's freaking ridiculous. How big and heavy is an airplane? It doesn't make any sense that should just fly through the air, right? But, you know, the Wright brothers, they did that. And do you know that up to a year later, scientists were publishing things that said aircraft would never be able to fly. And the Wright brothers said, we did it. Like, we've done it already. And scientists said, no, you can't. It's impossible. Okay? So it's just foolishness. Here's the other part of reasonable, unreasonable. All rules are made up, right? Somebody someday said, you know, you have to drive on the right side of the road. And the rest of the people went, well, you know, we have been having a lot of accidents. Maybe you're right, we should do that, right? And so all rules were made up. Little velvet lines at the movie theater. How many of you have gone to a movie theater, there's nobody else in line? How many of you have done the maze? Admit that you've done that, please, because I know that you have. You could just walk around, but the rules kind of say we have to do that. Be unreasonable. Take the shortcut. It's okay. You know? So one size does not fit all. You've heard that. And there's always exceptions to any rule, even hard and fast rules that you go, oh, everybody has to do that. So can you talk yourself out of a ticket? You could. Most people go, well, I got caught, I got a ticket. But some people talk themselves out. Maybe a flutter of the eyelash, maybe a couple of quick bucks. I don't know what it takes to get out of it, right? But, so there's a pretty big law, right? That's a pretty big law. But a bigger law, you can't kill somebody, right? That's a rule. And we actually have punishments, we have consequences for that. You can't kill somebody. But do you know there are people who've killed people who got away? Like even got caught. There was evidence, and they got away. I'm not going to mention any names, but there are some, right? So that's a pretty big law, right? So everything's negotiable at some point. So what is uncomfortable? Why would you want to be uncomfortable? Does that make any sense? No. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I want to do everything I can not to be uncomfortable, right? But wrong. That's where the growth is. So you all have come to Toastmasters to stand up in front of people. It makes you feel uncomfortable. Even me. I like talking in front of people. I get a kick out of it. And still there's a little bit of something. Hey, I'm going to go do something. But every time you do it, how do you feel after you did it? Anybody feel good? Anybody feel horrible? Sometimes you feel bad, right? Why do you feel bad? Didn't do too good, right? Here's one of the biggest fears that people have. And this is what stops people from being successful and having a lot of fun and sticking out. Fear of looking bad. And it's explained in an example as easy as this. Have you ever been walking down the street and you hit that little crack in the sidewalk and you stumble? What do? Do you go, oh my, I've almost fallen. I am so clumsy. No, you start to run, like you meant to run. I was going to run anyway. Oh wait, I'm waiting for my friends. I better go back, right? Why do you do that? You don't want to look dumb. You don't want to look clumsy. You don't want to look bad. It's a big fear. I get it. Everybody has that. But you've got to be okay with that. So in a workshop that I do, and Bet was there, and Mehmet was there, I believe. Bet and Mehmet. Anybody else ends in et? No rets. Okay. In there, one of my main things is get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where your growth is, right? So I would like everybody to play along with me for 1 minute. I'm going to do something that you may or may not think is the most comfortable, easy thing in the world. So do we have pairs? 2, 4, 6, 8. And somebody turn around and talk to this nice lady right here. Can you make that happen? Sure. Can you arrange that somehow so that you can have a partner? Okay, ready, go. Okay, so while you manage that, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. Get near your partner, face to face with your partner. And in each group, one of you raise your hand. Okay, you with your hand up are the parent. Oh, goodness. You're the parent. You are the parent, the other one is the child. Now, you're going to just have a conversation. This is like acting. This is like a play. You can put your hand down. Just as long as you know you're the parent. Okay? Now, just have an actual real conversation. Now, the topic is, this child is 2 hours past curfew. Say a teenager. Teenager, okay, and a parent. 2 hours past curfew. We're going to do this for 1 minute. Just have a conversation back and forth exactly the way that would go. You understand, right? Super easy? Here's the trick. You cannot use any word that has the letter S. S. Do not use the letter S. Ready? Have a conversation.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Okay, come back, everybody. Come back. All right, real quick. No. All right, so who did that just perfectly? You just talked as just like your normal talking voice. Pretty good? All right, pretty good. Who talked like this. Most people talk like that, right? Because, do you know why you talk like that? You don't want to look bad. You're afraid to mess up, right? So it's okay if you mess up. What's going to happen to you? If you said something with the word S in it, what was going to happen? Is the world going to blow up? Are you going to get fired? Am I going to come and hit you? No. Consider the consequences are pretty small. The only consequence is fear of looking bad, right? Where else do you do that in your life? You played by the rules, right? And in an effort to have a normal conversation. So that's why we give you the little bit, just to see, can you play fast? And try to have a normal conversation. So elsewhere in your life, there's some little rules, and they stop you, or they at least slow you down a lot. So consider that and say, wow, maybe it's not so important to look good as being successful as I could possibly be. So I implore you to be unreasonable. Don't just do what everybody does. Don't always have to be comfortable, okay? Be uncomfortable, because that's where your growth is. I appreciate that some of you have come from a different country to come here, right? You flew across the world to be in a new country, to have a new life, new opportunities. So that's really great. Don't let it stop now. Keep going. Bigger, better, more. Blazing a path is not always easy. Expect to be uncomfortable, but that's the point, okay? Get comfortable being uncomfortable, and you will become unleashed. Thank you.